pressure from your Hunters, and between Keegsmate and Fatal Ghost, these two really like to box against each other, so we might see some fireworks in that duel lane. So an Athena can easily, you know, topple over one side.
I think overall it is very interesting to see here how these picks and bans are going to be differing from what we've seen from the PC scene so far. Actually, Circuit ban coming out here for the first thing ever. It is being played on console.
It has been. Jumpa really likes his Circuit, really likes to just wiggle his way through into the back line and try to push somebody into enemy lines.
Especially watching those last PC games, they saw how devastating Circuit can be. So definitely want to take her off the board, but I'm wondering what the next ban is going to be from these players.
Myth Gaming really trying to figure out where they want to go. It seems like they got stumped a little bit considering how long it's taken to ban their first shot. And talk to me about this little mindset, Demi, because when you're going into picks and bans, are you trying to put the clock back at your opposition as fast as possible, or do you want to be super short?
There are two strategies mainly. The first one is you take the most time ever and you just wait out. You want to make sure you get the right pick. The other option is you go for the confidence option. You lock in every single ban and every single pick. You show that you are prepared.
All right, we see a Geb ban coming out. And of course, Uller, no one wants him, PC or console.
So with this early Geb ban from Strictly Business, it's going to be Kaden in that jungle role. And he likes Fenrir a lot. So this means that he's either going to go for an early Fenrir, maybe some kind of jungler that doesn't get countered by, or does get countered rather by Geb.
Kaden's going to be an interesting look, though. He didn't join them until Fall Split. He was actually a part of SOAR beforehand. So I'm wondering if that's going to affect his team at all, not having the maybe the necessary synergy that you need.
It's an interesting character, Kaden, because he's very aggressive in nature and inside the way he plays Smite. And I think that he's in a pretty good fit here for Strictly Business, especially with other people like Matt Koiz around him.
So do console players not prioritize AMC?
So far, it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, I'm a little...
the first pick, and I'm
then
not sure.
Xingqian for a second pick? I'm a little confused.
So Raijin is just a heavily favored pick for the console scene because you do have that mid-control pressure, but AMC does the same job as well. So I think that Strictly Business wanted to just get Raijin instead of AMC, but now that it's open, I wouldn't be surprised if they should lock that in as well.
Yeah, if this is following the PC meta game we've seen so far, I would like to see an Amusen Cup here, force the early pressure down. Actually very surprised that Xingqian is being picked so early. Is this a comfort pick?
Xingqian here for Myth Gaming, yeah, because it can easily flex. I think Colin can easily still go for Kaden if he wants to run that in the jungle. And between your solo laner here on Ryan Jarman and Matt Koi's support, yeah, this Xingqian is nice and flexible.
So you think that Xingqian is going to be for solo or for support?
It's flexed right now. I'm not too sure. Colin can still be in the jungle position here, unless they wanted to play it really safe. But Thor is a favored pick.
Wow.
And the AMC follow-up. My goodness, look at that damage that Strictly Business can provide right now. But they definitely need some CC, some peel, just in case they get collapsed on.
I mean, you say CC, but Thor is great setup with that long-range Tectonic Rift. The amount of long-range poke that SB has with already these 3 first picks makes it really scary for Myth Gaming to really come close to them.
Yeah, I really like SB's draft so far. Amusen Cup, Raijin, insane pressure. Thor to finish up the early game, looking to get a lot of picks here.
The Athena ban.
The Athena ban. It does look like Myth Gaming here is actually anticipating the Amusen Cup pick, and they like to play Huyi instead, which does kind of do well against Amusen Cup in lane to a certain extent. So I guess they are not comfortable playing AMC.
Yeah, it definitely seems like they were okay with that going across, and with the Huyi pick, it might not be that bad of a lane matchup.
I don't think that the Huyi for Myth Gaming, that Fatal Ghost is going to want to fight necessarily right off the bat. I think that he's going to be leaning more towards controlling team fights, dropping the Suns, making sure that a lot of SB members are going to be slowed, especially once Gold Fury is starting to get contested.
All right, we see a few more tanks and bruisers being banned out right now. Athena and Kabrakan going out. Looks like they're trying to take away anything from the support, or, and I guess on Strictly Business sense, is the solo lane.
Actually, wow.
Yeah, the Kabrakan was a great ban because you want to make sure that your AMC is not going to get locked down. So therefore, we're probably going to see an Odin ban next. You could still run Odin in the support role if they really wanted to, even in the solo position.
Just to take down AMC, Thor and Raijin have great escapes from Odin.
Yes, that's true, but AMC doesn't, right? So therefore, it's also going to maybe deter some other picks potentially. maybe like a
Bologna ban. Were you not expecting
Bologna
that?
ban. I am very confused actually. Maybe this is something that is a comfort pick for Myth Gaming here. Maybe it's something that they just do not want to face. Maybe there's going to be another Hunter on SB, even though I doubt it. But I guess they just didn't want to play against Bologna.
With this Ganesh and Athena ban from Myth, this means to me at least that Xingchen probably is already going to go in the support position if they're banning away supports, because Myth Gaming have the next pick, and either of those two supports would have really complemented that composition.
Yeah, exactly. You could still say they're playing mind games at this point, but I'm pretty sure Xingchen should be going support.
And we got Hachiman coming out, so we're going to have the double Hunter role, which is what I was talking about before. I didn't think that was what was going to be the case, but it looks like it is.
With these two Hunters here, do you expect another support like Fafnir potentially to complement that?
I do expect another Guardian. Fafnir being open is very scary to me. Hammers are easy to hit since you can just walk up close. So that should be no issue.
And his Dragon form.
His Dragon form with the Hunters works beautiful.
So annoying to deal with.
Right, so this kind of reminds me of the draft from Elevate.
But Artio coming in right now.
It's a nice pick here, honestly. If they decide to go for it, the Cripple is going to disable Kukulin, whether he's in human or Berserk form. Xingchen can't really escape in the action, get those protections that he needs.
Hu Yi won't be able to jump away.
Yeah, so it's just all-around solid pick. Cripple is a very underestimated form of CC.
Yeah, very true. She does do very, very well against the Kukulin in the Soul Lane, if that will be the matchup here. Artio, however, is a bit liable to get, well, sort of like taken down easily by Double Hunter. Sort of the damage coming through.
So if you, oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
If you think that she's going to be in the solo lane, who are they going to play as support?
For SB?
Yeah, SB.
If it's going to be that, I'm not really too sure.
Fafnir's open.
Yeah.
They should get Fafnir.
Fafnir could be an easy opportunity.
Wouldn't Myth want to take, oh, I guess it's going to be 2 picks for Strictly Business before Myth gets a pick?
I mean, honestly, even a Ymir pick against the Hachiman.
You think?
Like, just to lock him down a little bit more. Maybe even preventing Myth Gaming from locking that down. But it's going to be Terra, another form of walls.
Lots of walls, being able to keep AMC probably safe and the rest of her teammates safe as well.
A little bit of healing on top.
Yeah, there's a lot of sustain actually coming out from SB here. Odin would not surprise me being the last pick from Myth.
Which is why I was surprised that SB actually banned the Bologna, right? You would think that, okay, they banned Kabrakin because they wanted to make sure AMC would be fine.
A Kumba Karna, but with all the CC that he has, and it's kind of easy to hit between his sleep and his brute. I can kind of see it being viable.
Yeah.
And being that knockup that he has with his ultimate, taking a player out of the game for 2 seconds is huge at team fights.
It's great setup. It's very easy to kind of get lost in the action when you're dealing against the Kumbhakarna, especially if you're going to break the Mighty Yawn early. Their attack speed's going to get reduced. All around, solid support pick.
All right, Analysis, who are you going to give it to?
I think that this first game should go in the way of SB. They came in really hot from Fall Finals. I think they're going to transition here as well.
Yeah, and judging from the draft as well, I'm giving it to SB here.
All right, we give it 2 to SB, everyone. Now tell the casters for game number 1 of Strictly Business versus Myth Gaming.
Thank you, Kelly, Toli, and Demi up there on the desk. Finch, here I have Aggro with me as well for Strictly Business going up against Myth. And Aggro, I got to ask you here too, how you liking those picks and bans so far?
I'll tell you what, as soon as SB gets those first 3 picks, they get Raijin, they get AMC, and they get Thor, immediately Myth Gaming is on the back foot because those are 3 very strong picks and 3 comfort picks for Strictly Business. Baronic is the star player on this team. Getting him right with the first pick, love that tone setting. But I was very surprised that there was no AMC first pick. Fatal Ghost has played it a lot. He's very comfortable on it. And I was shocked that Myth decided to not pick that up for Keegs. AMC has been kind of the de facto #1 pick so far in this tournament. And to let that go back SB's way and for them to snatch it up, I really feel like SB won this drafting phase very hard.
I feel like there was a lot there that was kind of surprising in that picks and ban phase. I mean, like you said, those first 3 went very heavily in favor of Strictly Business there. We saw towards the end where Myth Gaming was able to pull in the Kumbhakarna pick. So, I mean, there was just a lot to take a look there. But it looks like we're working on, you know, getting this ready here for you, getting everything started for you. But I mean, talk to me a little bit more here, Aggro, about what we saw there and what we expect from these 2 teams.
I completely agree with what Demi was saying on the desk as well. Fafnir was kind of the obvious idea there to select instead of Kumbhakarna. Kumba, I actually think, is underrated right now. Sure. It actually could have been a great pick for Strictly Business because that attack speed slow coming out of the Mighty Yawn is really difficult for double ADC to deal with. But there's no real follow-up off of Kumbhakarna ult on the side of Myth, I mean, you've got 2 Hunters in the mid lane, so I really feel like Fafnir would have been the stronger selection there, and I'm also surprised that Myth decides to take Crimson off of one of his burst mages that he plays so well. The Soul, the Thoth, those are what he really made his name with in his rookie season so far here in Season 4. To give him, you know, the Hachiman, the Hu Yi, whatever he's playing in that mid lane is pretty surprising to me.
No, that's an excellent point, especially in this online split. I mean, Crimson, I mean, he was devastating on that Thoth in particular, and then he showed up at LAN and was able to play it just as well. So it is a little bit surprising, but I mean, Hu Yi so strong right now, as is Hachiman. We've seen the triple tank and then 2 Hunter comp be very successful. So Myth Gaming clearly believing that this is going to be the way for him.
You know, Purification beats the pickup for Jumpa in the jungle on this Kakullen. Jumpa does have a pretty big god pool and likes to play a lot of different styles in that jungle. He'll play the Circuit, he'll play the Nemesis, but he could also go for these tanky junglers. Played some RDO jungle at the Super Regionals for console, the fall finals, so no real surprise that he's willing to play a tank, and I like where they start. Myth Gaming actually start on their own speed buff without having a hog. Surprised that Strictly Business isn't able to come in and really punish them for it.
Right now, Strictly Business already off to a good start of everything here for ABC. Veronic and Fatal Ghost both here hanging out in the middle lane.
That's what we're used to seeing at this point at this Worlds meta. A lot of Hunters in the mid lane alongside the mid lane mage. We're seeing this because mid pressure is so important right now. Having the flexibility to be able to move anywhere you need to contest buffs, to defend against invades, to invade yourself. That's exactly what Fatal Ghost and Veronic did. They were able to invade on that left-hand side and take away the enemy red buff. And it's just the fact that Hunters have such good clear in the early game, especially a Hunter like AMC. That's why we're seeing what used to be the duo lane just be the support at the beginning. Eventually, Fatal Ghost will transition back over like he has right now.
That was the start for Strictly Business. Myth Gaming, on the other hand, I believe we saw Keegs and Inbound both over there just up against Matt Coy's, doing his best to try and keep that lane farm going for him. We've seen Terra be able to do that, though, with those walls.
And SB and Myth Gaming each get 2 buffs on the left-hand side. They each get 1 successful invade and 1 successful secure of their own buffs, but red buff more important than purple at this stage.
Stun onto Inbound. Fatal Ghost here is in position to try and follow up. Sprint comes out. That's enough to get him out of danger. He was real close to giving up first blood.
Good poke there, and that's what you expect from an AMC in that lane as Caden and Ryan Jarman continue to have some lane-pushing dominance on the right side of the map, which is what you expect from RTO in the early game. So good at clearing the wave. It's why she's so heavily valued. She has Guardian stats, does Guardian things, but doesn't have the usual sort of weakness that they do in the solo lane. That's a weak lane clear. RTO doesn't have to worry about that.
Already those oracles on the left-hand side been taken away by Strictly Business, despite the fact that Myth Gaming had 2 members over there in that lane the whole time, been able to get a little bit of pressure back over there on the other side. Myth Gaming going in up against Strictly Business, the solo jungle side of the map, just kind of fighting out a little bit. Jumpa, though, taking half his health in that trade. Going to be a little bit of low. Extra pressure means Strictly Business can now move over into the jungle and meet their mid laners to take those fire elements.
Veronic just has the better clear in the mid lane, and that means that SB is going to have some map dominance for the moment. Hu Yi has excellent jungle clear, but his lane clear doesn't really come up until the Ricochet is maxed out. And even then, you're going to be spending time autoing down the melee minions. So that's where this Raijin is going to really be able to take advantage and use that extra pressure, move around the map, look for Veronic to be on top of enemy buffs, there to defend his own buffs, or maybe even going to help gank.
And this is where we can see, you talked to me earlier, Aggro, about that start there in the middle lane. We're seeing it have some effect for him now, even over in the duo. Already level 5 for Fatal Ghost. He just, I think he took over a little bit ahead there, ahead of Keegs. They had that pressure so handily over there in that duo lane, forcing them back. That's where when you start early, you get to decide where you now want to spread that influence back out.
Exactly, and Keegs going with this Ninja Tabi Rush. No starter item for him, no Bluestone Pendant, no Death Toll, no Bumba's Mask. That's why he and Inbound were together at the beginning, because Keegs, without any sort of starter item, was going to have some trouble with those buff clears. He was going to be doing good damage. Ninja Tabi gives you a lot of damage early on because you've got your mobility, you've got the 20 power and the attack speed, but it's still lacking when it comes to the jungle clear up against the Bluestone Bumba's start that Fatal Ghost went for. So now he's going to be a little bit ahead towards getting those Devourer's Gauntlets. Keegs needs to try and take advantage of that once he finishes off that very important second stacking item.
And we've seen here a lot. Muzenkov has been such a valued pick here right now, and Fatal Ghost does seem to be off to a pretty good start on it. Has the pressure over there in that lane, able to secure his buffs each time they're coming back up. Do they need to do a little bit more to slow down him on this Muzenkov?
It's tough. I mean, Cullen is excellent in those 3v3, 2v2 skirmishes, but him showing up to gank a duo lane isn't where his strength really lies as a jungler. Kaden is the one who can really make an impact ganking the duo lane on this Thor, using that semi-global ultimate, surprising Keegsmate in that lane. If you take a look at the items right now for Strictly Business, every single player has backed and picked up boots too, which means that they are so much stronger at this point in the game than someone who hadn't backed. Now, Myth Gaming has been able to finish off a couple of their boots, so look at Inbound. He went for his tank boots right off the bat, looking to be that really resilient frontline Guardian, but it was Erupt Crimson who was a little bit behind. He waited and backed. Now he's the one with the advantage in the mid lane on damage. Whenever you back and get boots too, you've got a small window of opportunity. You really, for that first buff invade, which is very important, that you want to try and take advantage of. Myth did a good job of hanging on, not losing anything, and then being able to back and get their bigger power spike. Now they're the ones with the advantage.
Oracles are about to spawn here. That's why we're seeing some rotation over. Crimson here in place, Inbound, Keegsmate, even Jumpa hanging out over the wall. We hear the ultimate. Caden very likely going to be going up into the air, and he does crash down the back onto Inbound. Very quickly sent to the sleepy time passive. Still alive for the moment, but Jumpa gets first blood. Keegsmate comes in as well. 2 quick kills for Myth, but Fatal Ghost responds.
Great turnaround by Myth. They're going to get 3 members. I thought Caden was going to be able to get in and out, but no, the turnaround from Myth just too strong, and most importantly, Kaden actually fell for first blood there. That's Myth's dream, is to just have their Guardian absorb all the cooldowns and then try and turn it around. Really nice job by Myth.
And those kills, 2 of them went on the Jumpa there as well. So 2 quick kills for the Cullen there in the jungle role for them, in particular on the Jumpa, who we know can be an impact player for Myth Gaming here too, on an impact god. That's going to help them get out to the start they need.
Without a doubt, Jumpa, one of the driving forces on this Myth Gaming squad. And any jungler is a driving force, don't get me wrong, but Jumpa showed to be a little bit inconsistent during his performance at the Fall Finals, so him getting off to a good start is a really good look for Myth. And look at the confidence that he has after getting those 2 kills and the assist, going for a Rangda's Mask. This is an item that stacks off of kills and assists, and a fully stacked Rangda's is one of the scariest things in the game, because for 500 gold, you get movement speed, penetration, and cooldown, which is just about everything you could ever ask for outside of power, but it does have some risk involved with it. If Jumpa can't find any kills or assists in these next few minutes, probably about 10 minutes, he's going to need that to at least have half of the stacks in order for it to be worth him purchasing it. If he doesn't get there, he's a little bit behind in his build. But remember, with those kills, he was ahead in his build, so it's worth the risk.
Inbound's coming over there to help a little bit on a Fatal Ghost, but I think he'll be able to get back under the tower line, no problem. Also has a little bit of help from Matt Coys, who's coming over there too. We're able to get a little bit of damage on it, so Inbound's the one that takes more poke there than he wanted. But early on in this game, it felt like Myth, or rather Strictly Business, had the pressure on the solo jungle side. We saw it heavily warded. They were getting the fire element of rotation, but when the fight happened on the left side, that's the fight that ends up going in their favor.
Exactly, and again, it's just Inbound was able to absorb so many cooldowns, and he was definitely tankier than Matt Coys was at that point in the game, because the finished off tank boots, where Matt Coys hadn't quite finished that Lono's Mask to get that extra burst of HP and a little bit of gold. Plus, Matt Coys going for the Travelers instead of the tank boots like Inbound has gone for. Strictly Business needs to realize that if Kumakarn is out of position, sure, he's available to be punished, but he is one of the most difficult to kill Guardians in the game. And even when you bring him down, like they did, he's in that sleepy time passive. They don't even get first blood for all that investment.
Now again, we're looking at here for Myth Gaming right now, Agro. They're going with the 3 tanks, the double Hunter start here for them. While Strictly Business, on the other hand, they've got Baronic on the Raijin, that big burst damage that can come out from in the late game. Do you think that the double Hunter or with Baronic on that Raijin, one of those is going to be, in the game ends up going later, which one would be more impactful?
On paper, it's the double Hunter, but Baronic has really made a name for himself for a reason during this entire season, as Jumpa takes about half his HP in poke. Look, Baronic has been an absolutely amazing mid lane player for SB so far this year, so I really do expect him to be able to make just as much of an impact as one of these late game hunters. Plus, Raijin, and we always talk about how good his early game is, but he really stays relevant with his damage throughout the game, and that's why he's such a priority pick.
And this is really impressive here so far. Strictly Business and Myth Gaming are very, very close. Only about 500 or 600 or so gold separate the 2 teams, despite the 2 kill difference between Myth and Strictly Business. And I mean, Angro, I think it's because a lot of the times we see successful buff invades are coming out, but this time everyone's been able to protect their jungle.
Exactly. Despite the 3-for-1 in Myth Gaming's favor, SB is ahead. So, you know, with all the hoopla, regardless, SB is pretty comfortable right now. And this part of the game, you're not really looking to try and make anything happen too much, but with the Devourer's Gauntlets just being finished now for Erupt Crimson, this might be an opportunity to play aggressive.
And Caden is going in. Looking to try and create some problems for Keegs Made. Unable to, though, a little bit too close to his own tower. They decide not to pursue that any further. That is the big semi-global ultimate, though, down for the jungler, strictly business. So Myth Gaming maybe have a bit of an opportunity.
Keegs Mate's map awareness, oh so good, as Mollusk reminded him at the Fall Finals. Look, he's got his Devourer's Gauntlets already stacked up to about 35 stacks. So this is what I was talking about, where he doesn't get the starter item, but he gets to work towards that stacking item more quickly, and that's exactly what we're seeing over Fatal Ghost, who's a little bit behind. Now remember, Fatal Ghost does have a little bit of extra power with that Bluestone pendant, so it's pretty even between these two, but Keegs already working towards that balanced blade. This is where that advantage really comes from skipping out on Bluestone or Death Toll.
But I feel like I'm starting to get a little bit concerned, though. I mean, with how tanky Delny, Jumpa, Inbound are all going to be, it feels like it's going to be so difficult for them to start punching through. But what's really getting punched through is the Gold Fury, already very low. Myth Gaming are able to take that one away and get away clean.
Wow, great pull there by Myth, and that's one of the advantages of this double hunter. We see Elevate do it all the time when they run this Hu Yi in the mid lane. Walk towards gold, drop the ult, and all of a sudden the clock to try and respond to that Gold Fury is much, much lower. Great job pulling the Gold Fury objective out of the walls for Matt Koiz as well. Fatal Ghost not able to seal it away. Not exactly a guaranteed Gold Fury there for Myth, but you put it into your favor and try and trust your team to secure it, and they did just that.
And they really didn't have to give up very much to do it either. I mean, basically, it was just Crimson's hold. It was very safe for them to go in, get it. No lives were lost, nothing along those lines. So now Myth Gaming sitting on about a 500 or so gold lead for themselves, which kind of just shows you just how well Strictly Business were out in front.
Yeah, I really like this Chile pickup for Jumpa now. I mean, like you said, Strictly Business has done a good job of staying a little bit ahead with that Gold Fury. It gives Jumpa enough gold to finish off a big power spike item. This is going to pair beautifully with trying to get some of those stacks on that Rangda's mask that he picked up. Just so good at interrupting what Raijin wants to do. Remember, Percussive Storm is a channeled ability that you can interrupt with the silence if you're right on top of him. And everything that RTO does is channeled, so you really want to be able to interrupt that as well. This is a perfect pickup for the jungler.
Oracles at least looks like going to be able to go towards Strictly Business. The vision not so much important anymore now that Gold Fury's already been taken away by Myth, but at least secure some of that farm. Now we're starting to see, though, I feel like here, Aggro, that the plan from the composition of Myth Gaming kind of starting to come to fruition here for him in the game. They don't need to brawl or scrap all the time. They can go over and secure these objectives.
No, but Baronic has gotten some penetration online now with that Spear of the Megas, so he's going to be able to try and deal with these three frontliners from Myth a little bit more effectively. I was a little surprised that he didn't want to go for something like a Doom Orb right away, try and push that early advantage that Raijin has over Hu Yi in the mid lane, but I think this is a pretty okay build path either way. Now he can go for some utility if he wants. He could go for Gem of Isolation. An item that I would love to see him pick up here is Shaman's Ring, one that we don't really see a lot of, but really works well with Raijin as it does with any sort of tick character, because you're getting that passive of 10% extra damage right after that first application of damage. I really like that item on Raijin.
Strictly Business, they do have the Portal Demon pulled here. They're on top of the wards, so Myth Gaming definitely know this is happening, and that felt to me here, Aggro, like sort of like Strictly Business were testing the waters a little bit, trying to see what it was they can get away with on that side of the map as Keegs and Fatal Ghost trade a little bit more over here in the long run.
So if you were FDOT, that would have been throwing the brick through the window and checking to see how long it takes the cops to come?
Yeah, I mean, everything with FDOT does seem to have something to do with some form of
crime,
criminal act,
yes,
or some kind. And then, yeah, I mean, yeah, but that's essentially what it was. Brick through the window, and Myth did show up right away. But now they're coming back over to it. They've got it pulled, and again, able to safely get it ready. Inbounds here, though, Crimson as well. All ultimates available from Myth Gaming, so they'd have no trouble contesting it, and Strictly Business have to respect it.
Both supports only level 11, still one level below that key level 12 mark where they can pick up their second relic. Sprint was the first relic selection for Inbound, which works well against the consistent slows from AMC and from Raijin. The Shell pretty good against the Double Hunter, especially when upgraded. I'd like to see Matt Koiz upgrade this early to get those block stacks.
Trying to get those block stacks to help him out just a little bit. We're seeing, looks like Portal Demon might be under the attention of Myth Gaming one more time, and no one is around this time to try and help him out. Myth Gaming able to do a good pull there.
That was in one of those situations where you'll see a team not show up to an objective because they don't feel like they can take it, or they were out of position. I really don't think that SB knew that was happening. Ward coverage was in Myth's favor. Caden's local to the area, and even one Thor showing up, dropping the wall, throwing the hammer, get the double tap damage in, makes you reconsider a pull like that. SB just caught sleeping there.
And I think the reason why they might have caught him sleeping is just basically all games, Strictly Business kind of has had the control of not just that side of the map, but also the vision over there. It's been well warded by them.
Yeah.
So now when Myth Gaming are able to come over, they're the ones with ward control. They immediately act and catch Strictly Business unaware.
But that's two objectives now that Myth has either just outright snuck away from Strictly Business or kind of caught them flat-footed. It was the Gold Fury where Matt Koiz is there, but it's only Koiz and Fatal Ghost at the end. You really need to be more present at these objectives before they get down to 20% HP, because once they're that low, a team's just going to try and commit to it.
Caden perhaps thinking better of pulling those, instead going for the contest on that one with just about everybody over there. Crimson inbound, all had rotated over there to those Oracles to slow them down a bit. Gold Fury not too far from respawning yet again, Ryan, and now Myth Gaming have started to build themselves about 1,000 gold lead in their own favor, considering they were down a little bit throughout that early game process. And again, with this tankier comp, I mean, it's starting to feel like maybe Strictly Business is going to have a harder and harder time fighting into it.
I like the idea of where Baronic's going, though. Like I said, we already touched on the fact that he has early penetration that'll really do well against these frontliners, but going for a Gem of Isolation, Gem is one of the things that frontliners really have a tough time dealing with, because it gives you excellent peel for yourself, and it just means that the rest of your teammates are going to, Fatal Ghost is going to have a much easier time beating down on these frontliners when they're slowed by Baronic once he finishes that item.
Gold Fury already pulled, is low. They drop it for the moment because Myth Gaming are local for this one to try and contest and not give anything up for free. Looking for the ricochet was Crimson, not able to find anything, but not ready to give it up is Strictly Business. Now it's Fatal Ghost who's the one that's going to be pulling for it. And Keysmate is over in the left lane, but he can quickly rotate over. He still has an ultimate available, right?
Plus, it just draws Fatal Ghost back into the lane. He doesn't want to miss a full wave to that tower, just too much to give up. So this is a really good idea for Myth to try and pull this Gold Fury themselves, because remember, inbound's level 12, and he was able to back to base, pick up that second relic. He got a shell of his own. On the other side, Matt Koiz is a level 12, but hasn't back to get that relic. So there's an opportunity for Myth to have an extra team fight option that SB just doesn't have.
Strictly Business, like they don't want to give up on this Gold Fury just yet. They've got it full. They're trying to let Matt Koiz be the one, but it's actually Jumpa who blinks in, goes for the knock-up on the Fatal Ghost in the back line. Doesn't really have any follow-up. Actually kind of all alone out here. Baronic up onto the Taiko drums, trying to pull Jumpa back in, and he does. Fatal Ghost gets credit for that one in the back end, though. Spin the win sends Ryan Jarman on a wild ride. Mountain Archery comes through as well, and they have Jarman up in the air.
Crimson falls to Caden's hammer. Great fight by SB, and now they've pinched Myth into a tight little corridor. Caden doing plenty of damage with that Berserker's Barrage. He's going to be able to escape underneath towards the jungle, and Delny out underneath his tower. 2 for 0 in SB's favor, and they might be able to grab the Gold Fury here as well.
They are backing up here. They haven't pulled that Gold Fury just yet, but that fight felt to me like a little bit of a disconnect there on Myth Gaming. In the back line, they went in, but not able to quite get anything. Gold Fury now has been pulled. They were able to get the Mez out, trying to slow him down just for the moment, but this might be trouble here for inbound. He does get locked down, damage coming in, able to get back underneath the tier 1 tower, so he's not dead just yet, but Gold Fury has not been taken.
Exactly, he's just distracting, and he got a set of beads out as Keegs is in a lot of trouble. Jarman is going to force out the Aegis from the opposition carry, but Fatal Ghost doesn't go right back to the Gold Fury because Jumpa has already respawned, so inbound coming in, being an annoyance, which is what Kumbhakarna does better than just about anybody, is able to get SB off the objective. Definitely some miscommunication between Myth on when Jumpa's timing was as the initiation, but I think the majority of the credit here goes to Ryan Jarman because he zoned out 4 people from no one helping Jumpa. Now, when you've got 2 hunters, sometimes you want them on the same target, but at this point, they still don't have quite enough damage to really shred through Ryan Jarman's levels and just outright health that he has with that Stone of Gaia and the Hide of the Urchin. Next time, I like to see Crimson and Keegsmate be at 2 different parts of the fight. 1 hunter is usually enough to, if he goes unchecked, to really wreck a team fight for one side. If you've got 2 hunters, you don't want to have them both get zoned by the same solo laner. They either need to be able to kill that one solo laner quickly to be able to come up and influence the fight, or they need to be on different sides of the fight so that at least one of them is free casting.
We're about 19 minutes into this one here now, Ryan, and Strictly Business have gotten things about to the point where they're basically even, despite Myth Gaming having a small lead a little bit earlier on. Myth Gaming, though, just thankful to some impressive play by Inbound there that it's not worse. Gold Fury not taken, so that means things are still very close between these two teams, and Strictly Business didn't get quite everything that they were looking for off the back end of that engagement.
Fatal Ghost kind of taking a page from what we saw some of the PC ADCs do yesterday, which is go for double lifesteal early on.
Well, there might be someone on the left-hand side over here, and there definitely is. Fatal Ghost ends up taking down Keegs, make Veronic up into the air, but it's Crimson who finds Fatal Ghost. Probably does eventually get the return kill onto Crimson, though, so two have already fallen for Myth Gaming. Looking for a little bit more here. Caden is on his way back in now, though. He's choosing to take that Anvil of Dawn, go up into the air. Jumpa, you're the one who's under duress now. Wall locked him down for the moment. Caden's there to spin. Caden's there to finish it off. Two-man Mez, but Inbound looks to be in trouble.
Great fight by SB again. Veronic just does so much damage. I think he basically soloed down Crimson all by himself. Just an overcommit there from Myth onto the AMC. I get it, he's so good. He's level 18. You want to get him when his beads are still down, but just too much of a commit. Keegs dies very early on, and then Crimson soon to follow. Ends up working out beautifully for SB, but again, they get these kills. They haven't gotten any objectives off of them, though. Yeah. They are going to get this tier 1 tower in mid, so at least that's something. But another fight goes SB's way without getting a Gold Fury.
And you talked a little bit about how maybe they wanted that too much on Fatal Ghost. I mean, I believe at the start of that engagement, they were basically under the tier 1 tower or very, very close to it. So it was a very hard commit from Myth Gaming, and they did not get very much off it. Now, Strictly Business are up 6-4 in the kills department. Gold lead also increasing almost now to 2,000 in their favor.
And I touched on this Rangda's mask for Jumpa. We're sitting at 20, nearly 21 minutes, and he still only has 1 stack on that mask. That's not a good look, especially when you're going for something as expensive as Mystical Mail right after the on Chile. You're already delaying your build by spending 500 on the Rangda's mask. So this build is going to take a lot longer to come up, and look at how much Caden has really got off of it. He's got a Jotun's Wrath and a Brawler's Beat Stick. He's got enough pen to really deal with these frontliners, at least for the time being.
And I believe when he picked it up, he was 2-0 at the time. So
yes,
really he's now only had 2 deaths since then, so it really hasn't worked off for him. Inbound on the wrong side of that wall. Not any more follow-up, though, for the tanky Kumbhakarna, so he'll be able to walk away. But it looks like the focus from these two teams has been over here on this Gold Fury, Ryan. They want to try and fight over this objective. Ryan, Jarman, and Delty just kind of lurking around. Doesn't want to even let him get the blue buff for free if he can help it.
Yeah, there's that Anchile passive coming into play, though. Jarman gets silenced out of that first ability, so Myth able to secure their own blue. Delny and Ryan Jarman both have just kind of been sitting in the solo lane so far. Excited to see what they can do in the later stages with the team fights.
Gold Fury down to about half health, but it's been forced to be leashed, so it is going to be healing back up. Once again, Myth Gaming are here in local when the Gold Fury is getting pulled, so I think this objective defense, despite the fact that these last couple of fights have not gone their way, is the reason this has not spiraled more out of control.
Without a doubt, their objective play is what's kept them in this one, and that's what gave them the lead initially, and they've lost the last few team fights, as you mentioned, but they're still in it because of how good their objective defense has been, and their objective shred is going to get a lot better as Titan's Banes get finished off for Myth. So their objective play is what you're going to see them really go for, where clearly Strictly Business is more interested in the team fights.
Inbound now is here along with Matt Coys. No one really else around, so not too much danger of having to worry about the Gold Fury being taken. But that whole side of the map rather, looks like it's been warded pretty heavily by them. They got a Sentry Ward in that path there, so they'll be able to control it. One right on top of the Gold Fury as well. So they are going to be well aware of whatever's happening, as once again they've got that Gold Fury starting to get pulled.
Gold Fury down to about 50%. Inbound going to use the Mez to get in there. Finds the root on a Veronic, but not a lot of follow-up damage. Still forced to jump away.
Now they're not going to give up on this Gold Fury just yet. Ryan Inbound's here, he's going in, he does use the ultimate to try and knock him up into the air, but Caden immediately responds with the Animal Dawn of himself. Inbound's low, and that's a target for him, but not able to keep following up. Keegsmate, I believe, had a Relic forced out as well, but already in that Sleepy Time passive, Ryan Jarman takes Inbound out of the fight already.
Delny gonna go in. He's already used the ult. Good damage on a Fatal Ghost, who has to use both of his relics just to try and stay alive. But Jumpa is waiting for him right there to see one more auto, but can't quite find it.
Jumpa couldn't get it. Now he's the one who's very, very low, getting pushed out by Strictly Business. They're gonna be able to get away just for the moment. Delny turns back around and started up. Ryan Jarman also has a very low health bar. Get out of there, Baronic. Crimson, though, is the one who's able to find a kid, kill Keegsmate. Pays for it, though, with his life. Caden takes that one. Now they're able to take down Caden. Delny ends up getting credit for it. Jumpa, no! Fatal Ghost ends up getting that one. 2 for 2 so far. Make it 3 for 2 as Fatal Ghost also takes down Crimson for a double kill.
A complete bloodbath by the Gold Fury. Eventually, it ends up as a 4 for 3 as Fatal Ghost just had enough mana for the Stinger. I think that might have been enough for the kill on a Delny, but still going for this Gold Fury.
And that's going to be the whirlwind of Rage and Steel to at least get them off the objective for the moment. Delny knows that he has at least inbound coming in to help out, and that's going to be enough. One more time, Myth Gaming may not be able to win the team fight, but they stopped them from getting the objective.
Well, they were much closer to winning that team fight because Crimson really played that well. He was able to stay alive for a long, long time, eventually falls, but Baronic comes around the backside aggressively. He died without using that Aegis. I feel like if he stays alive, that's a Gold Fury that goes Strictly Business's way. That Aegis didn't come up in the middle of, during his respawn or whatever. He was able to hold that the entire time and then just didn't use it whenever he needed to. So a little bit of a misplay from SB's mid laner may have cost them an objective.
And Jumpa was a big part of that team fight for them too, though. Able to come out on the back end of the fight as the Kakal and Ryan, not able to quite get the entire kill for him, but once again, able to keep 4 members of this team fight busy. So if Myth Gaming, it feels like they're just right there, Ryan. If they can just get the fight to go a little bit more their way, then they can start hanging with the Strictly Business team.
And again, it's just gonna get better and better for them because they have these 2 hunters nearing full build for both. Both have 5 items completed, the exact same 5 items completed, and I imagine it should be a Titan's Bane for at least one. Maybe the Hu Yi will go for an Odysseus bow, but I imagine Titan's Bane is going to be the best option.
Crimson trapped between 2, able to get back up into the air, but not before he gives up half his health bar for the trouble. Everyone else going to be able to get out of that one without having to worry about too much more trouble on the back end, but Matt Coy's now getting just slapped a little bit here by inbound. They're going to back up. For the moment, we're away from the Gold Fury pit, fighting now back in that mid lane where the tier 1 tower has already fallen. Appears to be the only structure so far on the map that's been taken, as this has really been an objective focused match so far.
It truly has. 10-7 in the kills, but SB still objective list so far in this game. Still up about, 2,000, 2,500 gold, but have to try and get those objectives if they really want to break it open.
Koiz is the one that ends up getting trapped and having to take the ricochet in that fight. Baronic looking for damage over the wall, not quite going to be able to find it in that regard. Jumpa is in the mid lane with Ryan Jarman, no longer with Caden, who's heading back over towards the Gold Fury, which is already getting pulled now by Fatal Ghost. Not able to get it. Delny's in the back, using the Whirlwind of Rage and Steel just so he can get out of there. Baronic, though, pulls him back in. So low is Delny over the wall. He's safe for the moment, but Caden's looking for him. Caden finds him. Caden finishes him off. Delny is already done.
Matt Coy's trying to get into the back line, but just going to try and zone out Crimson, using the Thorns to return a little bit of damage. This is what we needed to see from Strictly Business. Great poke, great cripple by Fatal Ghost to put Delny in a bad spot.
Keegs doesn't want to give up on it, though. He's diving in here along with some help from Jumpa. Does get the knockup. Keegs gonna have to back up for now. Rooting him in places inbound, trying to keep him from getting in, but not enough. Fatal Ghost just turns and burns him. Ryan Jarman also gets Keegs in that situation. Now Crimson gonna have to run. That was a good double bounce, almost to leave Caden, and it does let him clean up the kill. Ryan Jarman now looking to try and box it out with the Hunter from Myth Gaming, and with a little bit of help from Baronic, they send him back. But what a play!
Gotta get one there, and Crimson does it. Great job by him. Jumpa still lurking in the backside. McCoy sees him, but he's out of mana. Jumpa doesn't have that blink up, and it's gonna be tough for him to get in and steal this Gold Fury, and he cannot. Strictly Business gonna finally secure an objective in this one. And what, again, another team fight goes their way, and Fatal Ghost has just been under so little pressure in these team fights. He got picked on the left-hand side, and Myth lost 3 for it anyways. This AMC, passing on the AMC pick, I think has really come back to bite Myth.
And now the map's kind of broken open a little bit here for Strictly Business as they not only take the Gold Fury, but they're coming over to the Portal Demon and trying to secure it as well. They are able to get it before Jumpa is able to show up for him this time. Now they're up about 5,000 gold, 14-8 in the kills, and they've got a lead they can start to work with a little bit.
And Fatal Ghost going for a Breastplate of Valor. No, gonna sell it and get a Hide of the Nemean Lion. Interesting choice to try and give himself some more survivability. I mean, keep in mind there's very little magical damage on Myth Gaming's team. They only have the Xingqian and the Kumbhakarna. Xingchen going to be doing relevant damage, but so I do think that a Mantle of Discord may have ended up being a little bit more prosperous for him, but you got to like his thought process.
Trying to make sure to limit their effectiveness, trying to limit the effectiveness of Delny for sure. Using that Whirlwind Rage Steel just not get trapped. Fatal Ghost is the one who already had to use his A, gets up into the air and right back down is Caden. Not able to quite find what he's looking for. Inbound right into the Sleeping Time passive. Damage from Baronic was enough to get him there. Caden takes out Crimson, actually gets a double kill in the back end, and Matt Koiz ends up getting credit as well. This fight's gone heavily in favor of Strictly Business.
That time Fatal Ghost falls, but this time it's Baronic who gets the free cast. Another kill for him. That's 3 in total. Delny trying to be the only survivor for Myth Gaming, but Caden's waiting for him.
Caden is waiting for him, and Caden is using the hammer to try and finish it off. Not quite able to get there, and even though he doesn't quite get the kill, Delny gets out of there. They're still forcing him away. The rest of his team already has Fire Giant well down to half health at this point, and really no way for Myth Gaming to defeat it. So as soon as the Gold Fury falls, Portal Demon falls. We see a fight at the Fire Giant now. That's going to be going the way of Strictly Business as well, and there's still plenty of Tier 2 towers and gold up on the map for Strictly Business to start expanding their lead.
So Myth Gaming has done a good job of getting at least one member every fight, and the target focus hasn't been horrible. Both hunters have been hitting the same target when possible, and they've split up when necessary for the most part. The problem with Double Hunter is that you lack AoE, and that's a big reason why Hu Yi is so prevalent in Double Hunter compositions, because he's one of the few hunters that does have some AoE. Even Hachiman, you know, the Heavenly Banner, the Mounted Archery, they aren't true AoE damage dealers, but at least they cover a decent area of a team fight. But that's really where the weakness of this composition is starting to shine through. SB, Baronic is raining damage through the entire team fight. Fatal Ghost is doing a lot of damage in the AoE style just because of the bees and the honey, but Myth gets 1 kill. They cannot seem to find both Baronic and Fatal Ghost because they don't have the opportunity to make the big play with, you know, the big mage damage, the big mage ult.
Despite how well these last fights have gone for Strictly Business here, it's not all over for Myth Gaming. Their 2 hunters are now very much approaching full build at this point. They also, the Fire Giant's not quite on Fatal Ghost, so that is a little bit that Strictly Business don't have that they very much would have liked to, but Tier 2 tower and Tier 1 fall over in left-hand side, and Strictly Business don't look like they're going to let that slow them down.
No, mid-tier 2 sure to follow, but Myth might try and give this a defense. Good chain CC onto Delny is going to force out his ultimate.
That's been happening a lot. Delny getting those ultimates forced out. Tier 2 tower is the one now that's in the sight of Strictly Business. And Myth Gaming, after getting Delny out of there alive, decided to just go ahead and give that one up and instead fall back and let them have that mid one, that mid tower in Tier 2. So it falls as well. They come on over to complete the trifecta and take the Tier 2 and right lane as well.
Well timed, because all the buffs are coming up on the right side as well. So this is going to be another burst of gold just by stealing away the buffs from Myth.
Come back around, debuff is back up. They're going to take that happily, put it around the waist there of Caden. Who else would it go to? And now they're moving over here towards that Tier 2 tower. Looks like they want to try and show a little bit of presence, but with 3 members on the other side of the map, they're not really going to be making any kind of actual defense on this one here this time. They still have plenty of Fire Giant left, so they can take these, go back and feel free to spend any of that gold if they need to get those last bit of items finished off for them and come back in and then try and make that last siege on those Phoenixes.
About 130 seconds left on that Fire Giant. Full build nearly for Baronic as he sells his starter item. Already got that Rod of Tahuti and now gonna really max it out on the penetration. Usually seeing Spear of the Magus, Spear of Desolation, and Obsidian Shard on the same character is a little bit overkill on the penetration department, but when you've got a Xingchen, a Kumbhakarna, and a Kakulin on the other side to worry about, I think that this is warranted on Baronic, and clearly he's been doing something right because his player damage has been relevant. Not very high so far, only 14,000, but it's been relevant player damage. Speaking of insane player damage, Fatal Ghost, 27,000, only Ryan Jarman close, and that is not very relevant damage on the RDO. Fatal Ghost has done a great job of staying as safe as possible and really putting out the DPS that Strictly Business needs.
Jumpa's going to need to get out of there, surrounded by 4 members, at least for the moment. Wall over the wall by Caden there to try and slow down the escape of Jumpa. That's going to let them come in for the slows now. Up onto the Taiko drums as Baronic Jumpa was taken out, just getting caught there in the jungle. Up in the air, There's Caden. He lands down on top of Crimson. 2 members already fall for Myth Gaming. Inbound now looks to be the next one in the sights of Fatal Ghost, who does put him into the Sleepy Time passive, and then he does put him into the ground. Left-hand Phoenix is the only thing standing between him, and that looks to be their target.
They can just go right for the end here, Finch. Nice game by Strictly Business, 21-9. Again, I liked a lot of parts of Myth Gaming's composition, but it just never really seemed to come together fully. They got some objectives, but their team fight just really wasn't there.
And it felt like really where it broke up for them is Caden does get one more kill in the Keeks mate, and they do clean this game out, was when they got that pick, Ryan, in middle lane. That set up the 5